Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to day one of SaaStr. My name is Seema Kumar. I am the Chief Operating Officer at a software company called Secureframe. And at Secureframe, we help companies get compliant in weeks. We are the all-in-one security, privacy, and compliance automation platform. At Secureframe, I run sales, service, marketing, and people operations. And one of the things that I am incredibly passionate about is the connection between employee engagement and employees feeling valued, inspired, and happy at your company, and how that translates to your customers feeling valued, engaged, and inspired by your company. Because your employees are the ones servicing your customers, right? And so today what I'm going to talk to you about is how your employee burn rate is affecting your company burn rate. In this market, burn rate is on every company's mind. And every founder I know is spending a lot of time in Excel, in their operating model, trying to figure out how to reduce their burn rate. One of the best ways you can positively impact your burn rate is by focusing on your employee burn rate, otherwise known as employee burnout, the Great Resignation, or quiet quitting. So let's talk about that. So I'm going to talk about some of the new startup leadership challenges that we are all dealing with today, given how different the world is today than it was 2.5 years ago. Then we're going to talk about how you can address those challenges through some new leadership strategies. And then I'm going to close with my 5 top tips for employee retention. So when I was a kid, I used to love the Brady Bunch. I did not know that I would be spending 2.5 years of my adult life living the Brady Bunch in real life. And it turns out that while this is kind of fun and kind of cool, it also comes with some challenges, right? You can't actually see your coworkers in person. You can't see that somebody has gone into a conference room 10 times in one day, and you're not really sure why, or that somebody's running to the bathroom a lot. You can't see that 3 people are whispering in a conference room together. There are a great number of challenges that this has created. Many of us grew up as leaders with this idea of management by walking around, right? You all remember management by walking around? Doesn't translate so well to Zoom, does it? Management by zooming around, it sucks. It doesn't work, right? So what are the challenges that this has created for us? Number 1, alignment and communication. When you can't walk around and see what people are working on and tell them what you think is important, it's very hard for all of your employees to know what is the most important thing for them to be working on and what the company's vision is. Number 2, employee engagement. How can all of your employees feel engaged when they don't know what the priorities are, when they can't see you as the leaders in person and connect with them? And then number 3, connection and belonging. Companies are bigger than the sum of their parts. Companies are a living, breathing entity, a living, breathing organism. And in order for your employees to be engaged and work hard and put in those extra cycles and those extra hours, they have to feel like they're a part of something bigger. They have to understand the vision that the company is working towards, and they have to understand the role that they play in achieving that vision. So these are the 3 challenges that we have all inherited being leaders today in this environment where we are all in the Brady Bunch most days of the week. And what this really adds up to is an issue of employee retention. If you have low employee retention, you're going to spend more money on recruiting, maybe on recruiting agencies. You're going to spend more money training your employees. You're going to have people out of key roles for months, and that affects your company's burn rate. So that's the connection. So let's talk about how to solve this. So it starts with having a great vision for your company. The vision is your why. The vision is, why are we doing what we're doing? Why are we working so hard? What is that North Star? What is the thing that we're all solving for? In our case, our CEO, Shrav Mehta, had been in about a half a dozen startups, and he had been tasked at many of those companies with solving their compliance problems, with getting their SOC 2, getting their ISO, making sure that they were GDPR compliant. And what he realized was that those compliance certifications, those frameworks, were slowing down the company's growth. They were hard to get. They were technical, they were difficult. And so he said, there's gotta be a better way. I wanna figure out a way to help B2B startups scale faster and grow their revenue. And I wanna make this problem go away from them. And that's the vision. That's the vision that he has aligned all of our constituents behind, our board, our investors, our employees, our partners, our customers. So that overarching vision, that big vision is so important to the company. The next step is having clear priorities. Okay, so we know what that vision is, but what are the things we're prioritizing? Where are we placing our bets? Where are we placing our dollars, our people? What are we focused on right now? And if your employees don't know what your priorities are, how can they focus on achieving them? The third piece of this is strategy. Strategy is, what are we going to do and what are we not going to do? Are we going to sell direct? Are we going to sell on the website and have a self-service model? Are we going to sell through partners or will it all be direct? Are we going to target SMBs or are we going to target the mid-market? These are all strategy decisions that you need to make and make sure all of your employees understand them. The next step, and this is what I am really passionate about, is SMART goals. SMART goals are not just, okay, we're going to ship a product on September 13th, which, by the way, we did, but it's, how do we know if we were successful? What does launching a product mean? Does it mean it's generally available? Or does it mean it's in early access and it's in beta? Does it mean we've trained all of our salespeople? Does it mean we're actively selling it? Does it mean that we've got a whole section on our website full of content and we've got pipeline coming in? A SMART goal is one that is specific. So it's not just launch a product, but actually bring that product to market, generally available, and have 50 customers using it in the first week. It's measurable. So we know if we were successful or not. It's achievable. We can actually do it. If somebody says, ship a new product tomorrow, that's not achievable. Right? So achievable. We believe we can do it with the resources we have today. Relevant. Is that goal relevant to what we are doing? And then time bound. There is a specific time frame or a date in which we have to do this. And then finally is your culture and your values. Your values are like your operating principles, your guiding principles for how you all act and how you behave and how you work together, how you collaborate in a company. So the best practice, align everybody on clear goals and vision and make sure everybody knows how the work they do contributes to that. Now you're probably thinking, yeah, that's pretty obvious, Seema. Thanks for the tip. We knew that, right? But here's the thing. Most of you probably aren't doing this. How do you know? Do a survey. Send a survey out to all of your employees and ask them, what is the vision for our company? What are you working on this quarter that will contribute to that vision? And what are the clear goals for the company this quarter? You will be amazed at how much people don't actually know that information. And that gives you a starting point. Then you know what the information gap is and you know what you need to address. So let's get a little bit more specific. Let's say you do that survey and as I said, you're going to get results back that show you that people don't know what the vision and the goals are. What do you do? Well, this is what we do at Secureframe. We have all hands every 2 weeks, and we are very transparent in them. Every department leader gives an update. We share what our sales numbers are. We share what our pipeline numbers are. We share what our NRR and our churn is. And all of our employees have said to me, I am amazed at how transparent you are. I feel like we really understand as employees where the business is, where we're winning, where we're struggling. That transparency really makes sure that everyone is on the same page with where the company needs to focus. We send out weekly department updates. So every functional leader sends an email each week saying, here are my goals for this quarter, and here's my progress towards this goal. Again, the whole company then knows what's going on. We do some things via Slack and email, but we're careful to not do everything in Slack and email, right? Because we all get buried in a deluge of Slack, which is really very ephemeral, and email. And so we're very careful about what goes in email and what goes in Slack. Team meetings. So we meet regularly, and each functional team will go over what their goals are and what the progress is towards their goals. And that's the start of every meeting. And then finally, regular one-on-ones. And I'll show you a template that we use for this that helps keep everyone aligned on what the company's goals are and what their progress is, how they're contributing to those goals. Now, this might look like a lot of things to be doing, but you have to remember that people learn and hear and communicate in different ways. Some of us are visual learners. Some of us learn experientially. Some of us learn by reading, right? And also, to bring back a favorite from my sales days, Zig Ziglar, repetition is the key. Repetition is the key. Repetition is the key. People don't hear it and remember it if you only say it once. And so you need to constantly share these goals, the strategy, the priorities, the vision through all of these channels to make sure that they stick. So I mentioned I'd share an example of our one-on-one templates. In startups, you oftentimes have a lot of new managers, a lot of first-time managers, people who haven't been trained on how to be managers. I've had people reach out to me and say, how often should I have one-on-ones with my direct reports? How long should my one-on-ones be? Who drives the one-on-one? Do I drive it or do they drive it? So don't assume that your managers know how to hold good one-on-ones. And I'll tell you, I think a one-on-one is one of the most powerful ways to communicate in a company. You can use it really well, or you can just jump on a call and you can show up kind of not prepared and it's just a conversation. So what we've done is we've created a template for how one-on-ones should be structured in our company. And you can see that we have listed in here the values, the core values of the company. We've listed the goals that this person is going to be working on. And then below that, there's a very clear structure. And it's what topics the employee has, it's topics the manager has, and then if there are people, if this person's a people manager, it's any sort of people issues, and then feedback. And using a structured template like this for a one-on-one makes it easier for the manager and the employee to stay aligned. Another thing that's really important is to engage in all-way communication. So that's up, down, and across. I see a lot of leaders make the mistake of always communicating down. These are my priorities. This is what I need from you. Here is my feedback from you. Remember that your employees are the ones talking to your partners, to your customers, to your prospects. They are the interface, and you need to make sure you're getting that input and that feedback from them. And so one of the things that I actually really like to do in my one-on-ones is set an expectation with employees that I'm looking for their feedback. And so you set an expectation and you say, in every one-on-one, I'm going to ask you to give me one piece of feedback. And one thing I've learned is you have to be clear that you want constructive feedback. Because as the boss, if you tell them you want feedback, you get positive feedback every single time. And while everybody appreciates positive feedback doesn't always help you get better. And so you need to tell people, I want you to give me one thing that I can do better every single week. And when they give you that feedback, you say, thank you for the feedback. You don't defend, you don't deflect, you don't say, but you say, thank you for the feedback. And that teaches them that it's safe for them to give you feedback. And you'll notice over the course of 3 or 4 weeks of doing this consistently, that you will start to get better and better feedback that actually really improves the business. Okay, so now let's talk about the next step, employee engagement best practices. Great employee engagement begins before the employee even starts. It starts in the hiring process, where they're getting to know what your leadership style is, what your communication style is, what the culture is like. And then it continues in onboarding. We do 90-day onboarding plans for all of our employees. So it's co-created, so you and they know what success looks like. And we do formal check-ins at 30, 60, and 90 days. And that creates, again, this pattern of them giving you feedback and you giving them feedback so that you're not showing up at the 6-month mark and saying, hey, I've got some feedback for you, which can be a really difficult conversation at 6 months if you've never given them feedback before. The next part of this is rewards and recognition. A lot of leaders I talk to, when they hear reward and recognition, they see dollar signs. They think it means, oh, I have to give them a spot bonus. Oh, I have to increase their pay. Most people actually don't want extra money for reward and recognition. They want to feel valued. If you're working at a startup, you're happy to have some late nights or work on a weekend. That's why you're here for a startup. You just want to be recognized. You want someone to say, hey, Greg, thanks for working so hard on that launch for security questionnaires. I knew you were up until the wee hours of the morning. True story. And I really appreciate it. It's been an amazing launch. That is worth so much to people. And you can do it privately. You can do it in a Slack channel. We have a Slack channel called Props, and that's where we give a lot of employee-wide recognition, and people love it. And then the final piece of this is career growth and development. A lot of the folks working at your startups are early career, mid-career. They're going to go on to do many more jobs and have many more chapters of their career. And they're really here to learn something from you. They're here to gain new experiences by working at your startup. And if you can invest some time in understanding where do they want to go in their careers, what are they looking for, and then you actually build a plan to help them gain some of those new experiences while also delivering value for your startup, you're going to have some really loyal, really engaged employees. So a couple of specific examples that we like to use at Secureframe. At the 45-day mark, we do a 45-day check-in. This is separate from a normal weekly one-on-one. I send these questions to the employee ahead of time, and I ask them to prepare for this, and I schedule a different conversation. And we go through each of these questions. And what you're really doing when you create a separate time and you ask these questions is you're actually creating a space for them to tell you these things. Now, a lot of people will say, well, we have weekly one-on-ones. Why didn't she just tell me that she didn't have the right tools? Why didn't she just tell me that she didn't know what her goals were in our one-on-one? Think about it. You're a brand new employee. You've been here a month and a half. You're still feeling out your boss. You're still feeling out your culture. You don't really know if it's okay to share these things. And so by creating a formal space and sending these questions, you're inviting the conversation, you're inviting the feedback, and you're showing them that it's okay. Some of the most valuable feedback I get comes from these 45-day check-ins because these are folks coming in with fresh eyes. They're not used to all the baggage and all the issues that you already have, right? Because let's be honest, startups have a lot of issues. So the 45-day check-in is incredibly powerful. I do a similar version of this at 90 days once the person's a little more integrated. Okay, so another tactic that we use is for career growth. So we have a set of questions where you can have a conversation with your employee about career development. Now, I want to be clear. The employee should own this. 80% of this is driven by the employee. They need to have a point of view on where they want to go in their career and what they want to learn. But they need partnership from you. They need to know that you actually care about where they're going to go in their career. And if they say to you, hey, listen, I know I'm in customer success as a customer success manager. I've been doing this for 2 years, but I'm really interested in the operational part of customer success. I want to understand how we can use tools and data and automation to scale a CS org. If you can create an opportunity for that employee to move into that role and get them the training they want, they're going to stay at your company. They're not going to go to some other company where they see that job advertised on the website. So really show that your employees, that you're invested in their careers, that you care about their development, and that you're willing to assign them some extra projects or a mentor or some resources to help them grow in their career. And your employee retention will be so much higher. Not only that, but your employee engagement is going to be a lot higher. When someone knows that you're investing in them, they're going to invest in you. Connection and belonging. We did an offsite in Miami. It was absolutely incredible. You can look at all the pictures another time, but you can't replicate that. It's very hard, I should say, to replicate that in the real world. So one of the things I like to do at one-on-ones, and this is going to feel a little kooky, it's a little woo-woo, so it's appropriate that we're here in California right now, is a feelings check-in. Now, all of my direct reports have this document saved. The top page is feelings when your needs are being met, and the bottom page is feelings when your needs are not being met. And I ask them to give me 3 feelings that reflect how they are actually feeling in that moment that day. And I share my feelings first because I have to role model vulnerability for them. So I might say, right now I'm feeling a little disappointed in myself because it's my kid's first week of school and I did drop off yesterday and then I raced to the airport and I didn't pick them up and I'm not there all week. And so I'm kind of feeling like a bad mom. And I can imagine that many of you in the audience are resonating with that feeling because you've had to do something similar. All of a sudden you feel more connected to me. And that is what this enables you to do. It feels kooky, but I promise you, if you do this 3 weeks, it'll start to feel normal and your employees will show up to your one-on-one and already have their feelings ready to go. So create these moments of connection with your employees to improve employee engagement. And kind of the overarching theme I've been talking about here is really about encouraging your employees to bring their whole selves to work. So in summary, 5 tips for talent retention. Aligning everybody on clear vision, goal, strategy, and SMART goals. All-way communication, up, down, and across. Showing your employees that you're really invested in their career and their professional development. Creating moments of connection, even when you're not in person. And finally, encouraging your employees to bring their whole selves to work.